Ooh, FOMC, huh? We got a big day today, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, we're going to be doing this live stream, and then tonight, 7 p.m. GMT, FOMC will be announced. I will be going live for that bad boy, so make sure you subscribe, get the notifications going, because tonight is going to be fire. Hopefully, we bring a little bit more fire right now, but Bitcoin is sat calm. Ain't doing nothing. NASDAQ and S&P are kind of coming down on the idea that maybe Powell is still going to be hawkish, but there could be an end to these high interest rates. Or maybe not to increase them anymore, but a pause. He did say last time that they would skip, but investors and traders are like, ooh, what's the next story? So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get straight into the charts. I'm going to break down BTC. Thank you for the roses. That is still happening. Let's have a conversation, guys. All right, then. Cool. What have we got? Mad love to everyone passing through. So, yesterday in the live stream, it was quite eventful. We saw a couple of concepts that we were talking about, understanding market maker behavior. The move ended up coming into play. We broke down the idea of how market maker operates. And at that point in time, it played out. So when you come to the charts, you really want to try and profile the way the price is moving. Now, Bitcoin doesn't move as good as S&P, NASDAQ, Euro, Pound. It doesn't move like that. But when it moves, it moves. Check this out. So, yesterday's live stream, what were we talking about? We were talking about the smaller time frames and how Bitcoin liked to make the move to the upside, all because of the way market maker, hold on, get rid of that, all because of the way market maker was probing the range with this red vector candle. He came up and smacked out the range and took the liquidity. He did it again, right? And he did it again earlier on. So what does the logic say? Says that Mr. Market Maker may not be done with this range. Now, of course, we're going into FOMC, so get your calendars up, gang. And this is what we've got. FOMC statement, federal funds rate, and the press conference. I will be hosting the press conference, so we'll be sitting here. It's going to be a little bit of a long stream, but we're going to be listening into Powell and the questions that will be fired at him. All right? That's all going to make sense. If we go across the board and have a look at what's going on in the marketplace, we're going to get a good idea of where investors' heads are at. Firstly, we'll start it off with the S&P and the NASDAQ. Check this. S&P taking a little bit of a tumble, okay? Setting up. They always drop it in the morning, guys. They drop it to only bring it back up. That's the flavor of the S&P. The same goes with the NASDAQ as well. NASDAQ is a little bit more frightening. I call it the Bitcoin of Wall Street. And it likes to make certain moves. But NASDAQ, in my opinion, has been dropping down nicely. It's a controlled move. Look at the red vector candles right here. You can see they're holding out, right? We're looking towards this red vector candle zone. Now, will we get any big moves right now? It all depends on how they set up the charts. This is my logic. Check this out. If Bitcoin's going to come up, all right? At most, we would expect Bitcoin to try and recover this red vector candle zone. Now, already you can see that they've tried to tap that region with these little red arrows, as you can see. All right? There are 2 points in the chart we must be mindful of. The psychological low and the 800 EMA, which is now sort of crossing over with regards to the 200. So you can see there's already a bit of a wild move that's happened. Just look at the chart. They've brought it straight back and the moving averages have come together. Now, moving averages are laggard, okay? But the retail trader will look at that and say, oh my days, it's a crossover. The death cross. Woo! Run your shorts, ladies and gentlemen. At that point, retail trader is loading up his shorts inside of here. This is where Bitcoin will look to start coming back up. And that's what market makers done right here. Go back in the charts and look to every drop down. If you see a crossover happening on the moving averages, whether it's happened or it's just after, you will see price will always try and come back up into those zones. Why? Because there's commitment here. Traders are trapped inside of here because they went short. Now market makers going for what? The liquidity. Okay? Just having that in the back of your mind is going to give you a bit of scope on the structure of where price could go next. Now, we're going to smaller price action to understand what could be developing inside of this zone. What do you see? We seem to be repeating ourselves, guys, because that's what trading is about. It's about finding something or an edge and run with it and work in the grounds of probability. How likely is it going to happen this time? How likely is it going to happen next time? The goal is that when it happens in your favor, you make the most amount of money. When it doesn't happen in your favor, you lose the least amount of money. Okay? Look at the range. What have we got? We've got this red vector candle zone. That's a point Bitcoin will go to. Next point, this point right here. That's a point that Bitcoin will go to. Why? Because traders have gone long up there. They got liquidated. Then they went short because they didn't want to miss out on the move. So these are our two zones in the chart that we expect Bitcoin to start working towards, okay? Now, going into FOMC, of course, there will be a little bit of a frightening move. And I'm going to warn you now. Don't play FOMC unless you are skilled in the way you move with the price. What do I mean by that? If you've got look at that. If you've got a harmony with the markets, okay, you'll know when Bitcoin moves and when it doesn't. The FOMC is a very tricky time to be trading. Why? Because Bitcoin will shoot up and it will shoot down and it will shoot back up. If you want to play with fire, get ready to get burned. Now, some of you guys that may be in the game of trading for a long time, look, just practice capital preservation. I'm not here to put you off trading. I'm here to try and keep you in the game because only you will kick yourself out of the game. It's all about survival, okay? Now, look at what's going on here. They've worked the way towards that zone. Seems like everything's a bit optimistic. Why? Well, that's because of this bad boy right here. Alphabet smacked it with the earnings announcements, okay? They've done really well, okay? Now, the markets will be opening in 15 minutes or so. Now, if we go and have a look at Google's analytics, you like that one? Google Analytics? No? Shit. Anyways, Google's been moving up, all right? The tech rally has been geared by AI, or has it? Check this out. You see this bad boy right here? This is an ETF that was created by BlackRock, okay? Look at the year to date, up 22%. Passive income or passive money, passive investors are plowing into this bad boy. What's this bad boy made up of? Scroll down and you'll be surprised as to see what's this ETF made of. Check this out. Oh, sorry, Microsoft. Oh, Apple, Amazon, Nvidia, Google, Meta, Tesla, JP Morgan. So this rally to the upside, what's it been endorsed by? It's been endorsed by the idea BlackRock creates an ETF or this ETF. And investors are like, okay, if it's BlackRock, then cool, let's just put our money into it. And the holdings inside of the ETF are these stocks. Now, I'm not saying that the rally hasn't been sustained by the idea of AI. It's contributed to it, but this is where passive money is going. Investors aren't seeking the safety of the government. Just look. Go over to the bonds themselves and people are like, nah, they're not interested. Yeah? They prefer to go with BlackRock because if BlackRock manages $9 trillion worth of capital or assets, probably doing a good job managing everybody else's, all right? So they're not saying the government isn't doing a good job, but the government, I mean, look, it's 4.8% on the yields, and you should always check in on the yields when you are trading, guys. Always check in, because it gives you a tone on what the market's saying, all right? Now, the yields today, word on the street says that they could even smack up to 6%. Some investors or traders are putting bets on the idea that the yields could actually fly up. So we might not be hearing the information that we want to hear, okay? So keep that in mind when you're trading, when you're coming to the charts, all right? With that being said, in the idea of this FOMC, word is that they need to stay put on the interest rates. Why? Because it's effectively going to be forcing the US into a recession. Now, this is where they say the man-made recession, Powell's recession, right? Because we're at 5.5%. And again, like I said to you yesterday, always look at stocks that have a certain amount of debt. So Google owns 6% of debt. They ain't going to be worried about interest rates. The only thing that's going to hit Google is if people aren't advertising with Google because it's too expensive or they're trying to cut back on costs. But a company like Nvidia, so we'll go back into Nvidia again, just to put the point across, that's got a debt ratio or debt itself of 44%. All right? So research and development is 27%. So that's where 27% of their capital goes. They can kind of offset that and what have you, reducing down the debt. You get the idea. But they are prone to interest rates. So if Powell today turns around and says that we are going to reduce the interest rates, we would effectively have ourselves what could be the terminal rate. But they won't say it. In my opinion, I think Powell's going to be suggesting that we're going to pause on the interest rates because we want a 2% target. All right? Now, going into next month, we're going to have non-farm payrolls, which is also going to stimulate the idea as to whether or not inflation could go back up again. All right? Michael Burry did say it will tank, but it could shoot back up again. So we've got to be very cautious. Powell is not going to be he's not going to be cutting corners, in other words. All right? So later on, we'll be bringing the fire for FOMC. So make sure you do subscribe and check in with that bad boy. Speaking of fire, check this out. Anyone in South Florida? Look at this. Ocean temperature tops 101 degrees, right? Something's changing in the climate. What's this ETF again? Paris-aligned climate. Hold on. See what I mean? It's all about climate change. Where's the money going to be made? Companies are now going to be going out and investigating this bad boy. But there's a change in the climate. They're making money off this climate madness. I'm telling you now. All right? Moving on from that bad boy. Bitcoin. In my opinion, looking on the daily time frame, regardless of whatever happens today, all right, Bitcoin is still good. But if Bitcoin invalidates the 24/8 zone, there's a problem. So what I'm saying to you is give room for vectors because we've already probed that range. All right? We've already tried it. It moved away, but it's brewing. And I always look at the vector candles because it's an imbalance in the chart. If Bitcoin's going to shoot up, it needs to come down. We're not going to ignore this because that is a key area that Bitcoin could effectively go towards. But FOMC is going to bring that. All right? Moving on. If Bitcoin cannot get back up above the 50 EMA, retail will be going short. I say that to you so that you've got an awareness about where people are making decisions. All right? Are we all on the same page? Cool. Now, breaking it down on the smaller time frames, if any of you are trying to take advantage of the longs in hope that Bitcoin's going to come up a little bit, cool. Your structure is showing there are green vector candles at the lows. This is the first criteria that we look for when we are trying to exploit opportunities. Okay? Look at the moving average. Again, it's a laggard thing, but look at it. Price has gone to the moving average, or the moving average has gone to price. What does it tell you? Zero volatility. Nothing's happened. But we cannot dismiss these two bad boys right here. Why? Because up here, traders have gone short. up here are liquidations. 29,694. Let's bring the flavor in the charts. What have we got here? 7-day chart. Unfortunately, at 28,850, you got $646 million worth of long liquidations. Go down a little bit. You got 4.1 billion at 28,750. Go down a bit more at 28,700. You got 4.5 billion. And then we've got this gang of $3.15 billion worth of long liquidations, all between the 28,650 and the 28,800. Are the shorts winning right now? Are the shorts optimistic? Are they happy? Are they committed? Bruv, will you just set... What are you doing? Forgive me. Yes, the shorts are happy. Check this out. You've got 3 zones. Well, 4 even. Check this. You've got, at 29,350, you've got roughly around 334 million. Above that, at 29,675, you've got 300 million. And then at top side right here, you've got 30,250. You've got $340 million worth of short liquidations. This is what could happen. So we take the top side at 30,250. FOMC comes into play, right? And what do we get? We get a nasty stop run, okay? To eat that liquidity, to snap it back down. You are looking, and we will be looking for this during the live later on today. We're going to be looking for green vector candles to appear here. Because if Bitcoin is going to keep moving higher, right? Bitcoin has to, and I'm saying it has to break 31.6 or 31.8. It has to. Otherwise, anything that happens inside of here is just stops. They're just running for stops. We need to see the break of 31.8. Otherwise, Bitcoin won't be able to sustain the move even higher. Because what you're looking for is you're looking for them to clear the high. Once they've cleared it, some of the guys that will trade buy side, sell side liquidity might be running for shorts from here. That's a possibility. But the higher they break this area here, there's a better chance that they can retrace back into it to hold it. The lower they break it, so if they don't clear it as much, there's a good chance that Bitcoin could reverse from that point. Again, I'm not talking about patterns. I'm not talking about anything else. I'm trying to get you to understand where the money resides in the chart. And when you understand where the money resides, you're going to improve the odds of a trade working in your favor. Because you're understanding that in this area here, market makers have got retail traders in shorts. They're going to bring it up. They're going to sap into that range, okay? Let's go and have a look at what's going on in the live order form. What's going on over here? What have we got going on? Nothing much is happening on my end. I'll bring up Exo charts in a second. So look, volume isn't really coming in as much now. We just had a little bit of volume coming in. The market's not even open just yet. And yeah, nothing on spot. 13 million on spot. Remember what I said? We need spot volume to be high because that's suggesting people are committing to buying Bitcoin and holding, all right? But it's all futures markets. Again, 11 million, 13 million. It's tuppence in comparison to a couple of futures trades where there's 80 million just collectively between Bitcoin and Ethereum at 10 past 2, all right? Later on tonight, you will see this thing right here going crazy because people want volatility. And that's the truth, guys. You make money on volatility, but try and keep it controlled. Don't trade these wild times in the markets, all right? We go over to Ethereum just for a split set. Actually, let's get Exo charts up. Here we go. All right, so where are we at with Exo? Let me just bring Bitcoin up for a second. There we are. Okay, right. Check this out. Where's Bitcoin? Same as yesterday. The open is at the VWAP. So that's 29,214. For anybody that might think, what the hell is this? This is the order flow. And this is the range that price has taken in the last, well, since the open last night, all right, for the new session. We had a low all the way at 29,073, and we had a high all the way at 29,412, okay? Notice the profile and the top side, which is the value area high. There's a little bit of an imbalance here. It's empty. So the order book naturally needs to start going towards that point because it's seeing that there's people up there looking to buy, right? At the same time, there could be people up there looking to sell, right? go even further down, we haven't really hit that much of the value area low. So there's not that much commitment down here. They've done the business yesterday when they marked it lower. So now we're going to assume that if Bitcoin can hold the 29,211, we're going to assume that the point of control and the VWAP are now acting as areas of support because we are in the happy medium of the range. Look at the light gray, right? The light gray is effectively the area of value. Now we want to see higher value being tested. Because if the higher value gets tested and Bitcoin breaks the value area high, we're going to start seeing an influx of these guys because these guys are sat here waiting around like wet lemons, hoping that their price can get filled again. So the market will naturally gravitate towards the area where they can grab value from. Because when you grab value, that means someone is buying and selling. And behind that buying and selling is the opposite of market maker doing the selling and the buying. All right. Some of you might understand it to be passive or aggressive investors. So when prices are rising, that's aggressive buyers stepping in and passive sellers selling up as prices are going up. When prices are going down, it's aggressive sellers, but passive buyers buying as prices are going lower. All right. We use the order flow to effectively determine Bitcoin's value range. In other words, where's it going to end up? Now, because we've got FOMC coming out, this range is going to get slapped up. It's going to go up, it's going to go down before it finds its happy medium, which means that you really want to be waiting until Powell finishes the conversation. All right? Now, last time we did that, Powell was asked stupid questions by people who were taking forever to ask them, and he was taking his glasses off. Like, how many people take their glasses off to hear what someone's saying? That's like driving and following the sat-nav and turning down the music. You don't need to do that. So we're going to work out if the context of what we're going to be witnessing today is going to happen sooner in the meeting or after. I'm hoping that the statement itself does reveal what the plan is. We're looking for a pause or, if anything, a reduction in interest rates because they want to avoid that recession. All right? Cool. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, where we at? We got 2 more minutes until the market actually opens. We're going to get ready for some price action, go into the smaller time frames. Yo, guys, how is everyone? And remember, today, FOMC, I'll be going live about 15 minutes beforehand, so make sure you do subscribe. And Patreons, we're going to be going live after this live stream. So give it about 10, 15 minutes. I'm going to be getting set up and we'll go live and look for some opportunities just before FOMC, or it's going to be me saying, please be careful. All right, I'll be taking some questions. I know you guys got a couple of questions, so we'll just get those nipped in the bud. All right, and if anyone hasn't done so, go check out Patreon because it's the last time you can join it because we're going to be coming away from Patreon, and any of you that are existing patrons will get the benefit when we move to the website. You'll get access to certain things. All right, cool. Now, here we go. Bitcoin. So we already recovered that point. We want to see them recover this point, okay? Now, it might not look much, all right? But this is Bitcoin. Go and do it with another asset. Like Euro. The same principle applies. What do you think Euro's getting ready for? Euro's getting ready to try and break that psychological low. The only way Euro isn't going to succeed at that is if the dollar dominance breaks this high. Now, dollar has left some green vectors down at the lows, so we would assume dollar dominance is going to be coming down in the near future. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to take a trade on that principle. I'm going to go into a euro, and I'm going to say, right, all these green vectors right here are trying to force price higher. First green vector candle above the 50 EMA hasn't appeared on the 5-minute time frame. So what am I looking for here? A green vector to appear, all right, to suggest that they could actually try and break higher. What's euro been doing as of late? It's non-stop been dropping. It's already made a move up, tried to retrace back into it, created a little bit of a structure. Now we're anticipating that Euro's going to try and keep climbing up to come and eat the liquidity over here. That would be an FOMC play. All right? It's easier with Euro than it is with Bitcoin because Bitcoin, you get slapped up with fees. Okay? In my opinion, yeah. I'm going to look at Ethereum because Ethereum does it better. Now, where are we at? 30. Yep, markets are open. Cool. All right, then. So Ethereum right now, not really doing much. 5-minute time frame. We're going to be looking for Ethereum. Now, the market's going to react to Google. So just quickly, before I do Ethereum, just quickly go over to Google a second. Have a look at that bad boy. Right. Google, in principle, should be gapping up. It should be gapping up. There we go. Gap up at $130. So the gap up will happen. There's going to be an influx of investors who may be selling or who may be buying. Here we go. There's the gap, ladies and gentlemen. So this is going to be the nail in the coffin as such. This is going to dictate what the narrative is across the board. So Google's gapped up at $130 right now. I don't even think they're going to try and fill this gap anytime soon because that's great news for Google. So investors are happy right now. It's up 6% for the day. Meta is going to be declaring its earnings as well. That too is gapping up. We just quickly go over to the earnings. Yep, we got Meta coming out today or tonight. We got Coca-Cola declaring their song and dance later on. What else have we got? Apple hasn't really done that much. We go into Microsoft. Microsoft's gapped down, but they'll close that gap on the hype of what's going on in the marketplace. Going over to gold. Gold's coming down ever so slightly. Recovery, retrace, continuation. That's what gold usually likes to do. Tesla ain't bringing much flavor. A little bit of a gap down. I want to see it fill that gap later on tonight. Let's just quickly go over to the NASDAQ a second. NASDAQ is trying to climb up, coming away from this range. S&P, same flavor with S&P. Drop and then bring it back up again unless they decide to pull a fart and drop. Now, oil's trying to start a move back up again, all right? So always keep an eye on oil and the S&P. They move in sync. And remember, the S&P is made up of a lot of companies that are in transportation, oil exploration, so keep that in mind. Let me just go over to dollar yen because that's pretty much, my days, man, this thing. Dollar yen's pretty much waiting for FOMC later on tonight, guys, all right? Dollar yen will make a move if Powell says something nasty. All right. Now, quickly going over to XRP for a second. So if we remember the M formation, it seems to be working out. Everyone was like, why am I going to get rid of this asset and what have you? Well, look, if Powell says something stupid, XRP will come down. Okay. Now, I don't know if I remember, I told you guys yesterday, there was this conversation about XRP going to a certain amount. So let's say XRP is going to go to $1,000, right? This conversation that was had said that the actual coins that retail have won't go to $1,000. It's the escrow coins that the banks hold that will be valued at that amount. Now, I need to regurgitate that. I need to go find out a little bit more about it, but there is no way that XRP could go to $1,000. That's what this guy was saying. And it kind of makes sense, all right? But look at Doge. Look at Bitcoin. You know, it's one of them ones. What they say and what happens is completely different. Okay, here we go. Now, again, pausing. All I'm going to say to you guys, what time is it? Right, it's 33 minutes. Okay. All I'm going to say to you is this. Tonight, it's going to be a little bit exciting. All right. You're going to see a lot of volatility. Now, if you are already in trades, I would be comfortable if I was in a trade, okay, and I was long from Bitcoin, and I was long at 18,000. I wouldn't be too concerned because for Bitcoin to drop from that current point down to 18,000, we're talking about a 38% wipe. That would be unfortunate, okay? So just be mindful of that, all right? Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to finalize the live. We're going to get ready for the private live stream. Mad love and respect. And I'll be checking in with you all later on. 6:45 GMT. We'll be getting ready for the FOMC live. All right? Mad love and respect, guys. Take care of yourselves. Peace.